Welcome to the Joel Fleischman Happy Hour Podcast, episode number 64. Marcus, give me famous 64s.
Famous 64s. Jerry Kramer.
I've met Jerry Kramer with Chris Riley. Shout out to Chris Riley. Have his autograph. Really genuine guy. Couldn't get around very well. Got beat up pretty well by the NFL, but neat dude.
I was going to go older Packer, John Yurkovich.
I know Yurko was coming. Yeah, Yurko.
And actually got to give a shout out here. This guy is named Justin Berg. He was 2 years older than me growing up. He's from Anigo. He pitched 3 years for the Cubs in 2009, 2010, 2011. So, the late Major League draft pick. Nobody ever thought he was going to do what he did and pitched 3 years for the Cubs. So
Nice. Cool.
Marcus, hijacking the podcast. I love it. Bringing the Marcus spin to it. I love
Exactly.
it. This episode is sponsored by Central Waters. Happy hour, ladies. Cheers.
Cheers.
And you are drinking what?
The Pretty Fly for a Maple Rye.
All right, literally. Call that Central Waters Brewery out of Amherst sponsors this. And you are drinking
I'm not quite sure how to say that.
Wisconsin.
Oh, is that what it is?
Oh, Oshing. Oshing, yeah.
Starts with an
Ouiscon Sing Red Ale.
Yeah.
There are some hippies up there in Central Waters.
Mhm.
And I have with us today Haley Kennedy, Jessica Miller, schedulers, actually, for flooring and warranty work for windows and flooring. So, awesome. Welcome, ladies. Let's try it out, see how you like it.
Alrighty.
I am not drinking today.
You feeling alright?
I am on 75 hard, which I said at the last episode, but I should probably say it every podcast that we have it. So I'm doing 75 hard, which is a challenge, Andy Frizella. If you want to Google that online, bring up Andy Frizella, 75 hard. And that is actually 2 workouts a day for 45 minutes each at least. And one has to be outdoors. You drink a gallon of water a day, so there can be no alcohol with that, or drink a gallon of water a day, no alcohol. Got to take a photo of yourself every day. And you have to read for 10 pages of nonfiction every day, or 10 minutes of nonfiction every day. You have to do it every single day for 75 days.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So, like, anyone can do that for one day. It's really teaching you a discipline side of life, right? So it's more of a discipline challenge than anything else. So it's really not a weight loss challenge, or, you may lose weight because of that, obviously, but it's more of a discipline challenge. So I always wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And just a reminder to everybody, I encourage everyone to do hard things because they are hard. What does that mean? If you do hard things, it prepares you. Life is going to give you shit. It's going to be a big shit sandwich in your life. Like, I don't think anyone's ever died unless they die young and didn't have, like, shit sandwiches.
Yeah.
Like, how do you deal with them? And I think people are so crushed when they lose a loved one or bad things happen because they were not ready. They've never treated their mind, body, soul to be ready for a shit sandwich.
Mhm.
And then they're just crushed for, like, a life. And other people seem to rebound. It's not because they don't care.
Yeah.
Because they're ready to handle it. They've been through other shit sandwiches, prepared or not. So, anyways, that's
Yeah.
75 hard.
Nice.
Yeah. So, anyways, this is day 19. I'd rather have a beer. How is the beer?
Good.
It is delicious.
good.
I am a big fan of ryes. They did a good job.
What's a rye compared to like an IPA or for like a
So-
casual drinker?
It would be closer to like a porter.
Oh, okay.
in
Still
flavor.
pretty dark.
Yeah.
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 What would you compare it to?
It's lighter. I would almost say like a spotted cow type.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like it?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. They have good beers up there. They really
Yeah.
do. I do got to give, since I'm not having alcohol today, I am giving a shout out to Chippy's Popcorn, made in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. Backstory of Chippy's is I got a total, and I get these once in a while, I got a total random email of a lady in distress, not totally in distress. She had a vision to basically have beautiful downtown murals, which I love. Plymouth has done a great job, the side of the buildings. And she wants them in Beaver Dam. And had seen Drexel signs and been on our blog and website and really loved Drexel. Happened to see Kewaskum's mural. If you haven't seen it, it's beautiful. We sponsored it. So she saw the sign. So she's like, oh my gosh, I got to reach out to Drexel. Maybe they'd sponsor murals in Beaver Dam. And I respond. I usually pray on these and sleep on them. I responded, thank you, but we're not that connected to Beaver Dam. We don't have a location there. We don't have a lot of team members there. We have a few builders there, but I just don't feel connected to that project. Best of luck to you. I don't want to, and I also don't want to take it away from a business in that area that would be more than happy to sponsor that. That would probably be really blessed. I don't want to take that away from them. Didn't think anything of it. She replied, yes, thank you. And she sent me 3 bags of Chippy popcorn and said, things happen for a reason. I want to still build that connection with you. Thanks for helping me out.
That is
Nice.
awesome.
It's awesome. So bacon cheddar.
Mm,
See if you like
nice.
it.
I am a huge popcorn
Really?
fan.
Oh, so
yeah.
It's gonna geek you out. It's so good.
Yep.
Oh, my kids are gonna be mad. They love bacon. They're gonna be mad I had bacon popcorn.
I could see both.
Oh, that is
And then with a
tasty.
little bit of rye, pop, beer, right? Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Good thing.
Yeah.
Very good.
So, anyways, welcome, ladies.
Thank
Total
you.
under the radar screen job. Tell me a little about yourselves. How did you end up in this position? Where'd you grow up? Who are you?
Well, I'm Jessica
You
Miller.
hear this, is this popcorn gonna rattle in the podcast probably?
A little bit.
All right, we're gonna put it away. All right, sorry for all you
No.
listeners out there making some popcorn noise. Okay.
So I'm Jessica Miller. I grew up in the big town of Alto. I came from the nursing background, actually. Not planning on that at all. I've been in there since '06, and they started the COVID vaccine requirement. I did not agree with it because I had a flu shot in 2016 and almost died from it. Severe reaction called Guillain-Barré. I don't know if you've ever heard of it or not. But landed me in the hospital for a very long time. Didn't know if I was going to make it out.
Wow.
Had to relearn everything. Walking,
Oh
talking.
no, horrible. I'm
swallowing.
sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. It landed me at Drexel. So
Yeah.
I'm very happy here. The culture here is amazing.
So you are
So
actually one of
positive.
the COVID stories, right?
Mhm.
Nursing's a shortage. Jessica's a fantastic person, would still be in nursing, and now she's doing
Yeah.
scheduling,
Yeah.
right? Which is
Yeah.
again super dynamic.
Yeah.
I love Drexel for that. Like that's
Yeah.
such a great story
Yeah.
already. I don't know if you saw recently. We have not talked about COVID forever on these podcasts. It is amazing. Births are down right now,
Okay.
in the world.
Yeah.
Significantly down birth ratio. Genuine deaths are up, like overall deaths,
Mhm.
like with all causes, right? So that you never get. So what's going on there, right? Like, so why are births so much down and why are deaths so much up? So everybody got this shot that wasn't really tested. Weird.
Yeah.
But now people can't get pregnant, and now there's just these odd deaths that no one, unknown causes, unknown
Yeah,
cause
right.
deaths
Yeah.
are like through the roof
Mhm.
right now.
Mhm.
Weird.
Yeah.
I get it.
Mhm.
Welcome.
Thanks.
All right. I came from, actually, I was born up near the Twin Cities and then moved down to lovely Kewaskum, our neighboring town, when I was 5. So I was around here for most of my life and then did 5 years in South Carolina. I was a credit union kid. I did strategic marketing or strategic planning and marketing for credit unions only all over the U.S. Traveled everywhere. Absolutely loved it, and mine's slightly related to COVID too. And then COVID came and no more travel, and then I actually got sick completely unrelated to COVID, and then decided to come back home. And that was when I came to Drexel and kind of found where I actually belong. I love credit unions. They are fantastic, but it's a shrinking industry, and so it's fun to be in an industry that's still in its growth period. Makes
And
it
neither
really
one
great.
of you started here as a scheduler, correct?
Nope, we
Correct.
both started with the same position.
Yeah,
Actually,
which
yeah.
is-
So the connector of happiness,
Yeah.
and then the replacement for me when I moved into scheduling was Jessica. So I got to train her once, and then I got to steal her to be my partner when the position opened up for a scheduler over here. So I poached her.
So people are probably listening, what the hell is a connector of happiness?
Oh, we are the best people to talk to if you don't know who you need. It is essentially the position of an operator, and then we guide you to who you want, but also kick off what your experience with
So it
Drexel
really
is.
is centralized phones,
It is.
right? So if you think about it this way, like, wow, centralized phones. So we could save money, a lot of money,
Mhm.
and literally have it automated. Press 1 for Windows,
Yeah.
press do, right? I mean, we basically, when you were connector of happiness, there's maybe, overall 12 options.
Yep.
And then it would be like, or 6 options, and that would have been like, right, for name-by-name directory, right? We could do that, and we would save, I would say 30, 40, 50,000 a year.
Yeah.
We actually want live humans helping you.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. If you get frustrated talking to Connector Happiness, I sit next to Aubrey and Brenda right now. Shout out to them.
Yeah.
It's an interesting job now that I sit next to them.
Yeah.
So yes, I sit next to the Connector of Happiness. If you're wondering where my corporate office is, it's right next to those two awesome ladies. But sometimes they are really tough connections.
Yeah.
I want to talk to the person I talked to yesterday in Windows. And that person's name is, I don't know. And what location were you with? Well, why do I need to know, tell you the location? Because we have 7. Well, you wore a gray shirt and we were talking about double hunks.
Yep.
Still not helping at all,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
Right, every day, right?
Yep.
Awesome, awesome. And then you both got into scheduling.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about scheduling. What does that mean in the raw terms? What are you actually scheduling? How does that work?
So my favorite way of
Did I
describing
miss anything on
it.
Connecting with Happiness?
What?
What software? Let's stay with Connecting with Happiness. Sorry.
Okay.
Go backwards.
Um,
Connector of Happiness. What software do you use? How does it all play out? How many phone calls do you take a day? Do you use metrics?
Yeah.
So yeah, we did run a weekly report for the call volume to see how many calls were coming in general, so that we know, if we have the appropriate coverage, checking to make sure how many calls are coming in that we can't answer. So my favorite was seeing the 2 a.m. calls. I don't know who calls Drexel at 2 a.m., but
Yeah.
man, are they dedicated.
Booty calls.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going
Yeah.
on? Where you at, girl? Where you at?
Pretty great. And then
what
also,
are the high volume Are there high volume days? What were they? And are high volume times? And what were they?
yeah, usually I think
Summer, for sure.
Summer for sure, because we're just more busy in general. Mondays were usually the hardest hit, and then I always felt like Friday afternoon when everybody's
Yes.
scrambling, that they're like, oh no, it's the end of the week and I didn't, get a hold of anybody.
Right.
That was always
So
kind
that
of
does, that does
big
pick
one.
up. at
It
the end.
does.
Yeah.
So, but you kind of see a slow trend that like Monday's the busiest, Tuesday's a little quieter. For some reason, Wednesday always seemed a little bit low. Thursday picked up a little bit, and then Friday was usually low volume overall. But those hours,
Then the
like
last
2 hours
like,
before
they
closing.
close, I got to get this in.
Yep.
My dad always had a saying, we used to be open Saturday 7 to noon, and we would get this unbelievable rush at 11:45.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes we talk like, maybe we should stay open until 1.
Yeah.
And my dad was like, we could be open 23 and a half hours a day. That last half hour would be a rush. The only way to never have a rush is to be open 24 hours. That's
Yeah.
like the only way. And it's so true. I mean, our hardware store in town in Kewaskum where I live, I think it's open to Saturday, High Tenny's Hardware, till like 3 o'clock on Saturday. And it is like in the back, it's like a ticking time bomb in my head, right? I'm like, and I grew up in retail, so I know what it's like that last 10 minutes. Like, don't be that person. If you're listening, don't be that person. Like, don't just go a different day if you can. Do not be that last person, especially if it's detailed. But whatever.
Or if you go
It's-
to a restaurant.
yeah,
True.
don't do that either. Oh, sorry, Blue Door, I do that like every day at 1:50. Left. But yeah, correct. I mean, just don't be that person. Be accommodating. But ticking time bomb at Timmy's Hardware. I'll go in there at 2:30 on a Saturday.
yeah.
Like, all right, plenty of time. We're good. So interesting on the call volume. And then, do you remember what software you use?
Yeah, so we use Nextiva for
Nextiva,
managing
okay.
everything, which is interesting because in our scheduling role we use Nextiva in a different capacity, but it was kind of fun to see both sides of it. And then we also did use Spruce occasionally as a connector. You could look up, at least if you had their name, you could see if you could find a job and figure out who their salesperson had been if you have the time.
If you have to get back into
Yeah.
that. That's
Yeah.
part of it is like, that's an interesting equation, right? Do you teach the connectors of happiness to go through Spruce stuff and really get detailed and really so they can get them quicker to again, when they don't know the person, to get them quicker to that person. But if you do that, there's 3 or 4 or 5 calls stacking up.
Yep.
So it's more like, no, we're going to get you to that department and then they'll debrief you. So again, if you're a customer here, I apologize, or a team member, there is sometimes you get to the person and they'll get you in one more person just to get through that process. But we think that overall that's still a really good way, better than
Oh, yeah.
dial by dial directories.
Yes.
Just got anything to add?
I agree, and I think we took probably about 1,000 calls a week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, that's great.
So
That's good
quite
feedback.
a bit, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah,
1,000 calls a week.
yeah,
Seems like a lot.
it is a lot.
And that's not what comes into Drexel, that's what comes into the generic phone numbers,
Correct.
because you would
Correct.
never touch the direct numbers, which has gotta be
Yes.
10 times though.
Oh, yeah. That's on all the
Definitely.
cell phone
Something like
calls that
that,
come
right.
in, and yeah.
Great.
Mhm.
You have any funny connector of happiness? Do you remember any phone calls?
Oh, I mean,
You have like a go-to,
there were,
like-
yeah, I had some favorites
Haley's
that they
Haley's a
would call.
part-time bartender, everybody.
Yeah.
You wanna give a shout out to that? Or do you
Yeah,
not?
yeah,
All
no,
right.
that's fine.
Yeah, go for it.
I know I took the rest of the summer off, so right now I'm not, but I'll be returning to it once my
Go ahead,
social
sell it. Maybe
schedule.
someone will come and see you, come on.
I know, yeah, down
get
at the
it.
Pearl of Canton, you can come see me and have some sushi.
Pearl
Yeah.
Canton, what night of the week?
Tuesdays.
Tuesday nights,
Yep.
like double bubble, triple trouble or anything, or?
No, I mean
Or
like.
cheap sushi, 2 for 1 sushi?
They don't do specials for that, but they do drink specials.
Chinese, or
it's
is it-
it's a mix. So they have sushi, they have
Right.
Chinese, and they have like Japanese and Vietnamese. So
Right,
they got
so
a little bit of
I mean,
everything.
what do they call it, like Asian?
Yeah. Yep.
Asian?
Asian cuisine.
Cuisine? Asian
Yeah.
cuisine.
Yep.
Cuisine. She's the bartender there Tuesday night, so she's
Yeah.
she's a good storyteller. So go ahead. What's your story?
Okay, so I had my favorites, but my favorite story that I ever heard actually predated me. I was told it in my
Oh, it's
interview.
like a legend now.
Crystal, who works down in finance in
Right.
Campbellsport.
We've had a lot of people come from Connectors with Happiness somewhere else.
Oh, yeah.
Amber Wash, shout out. Crystal,
Yep.
shout out. Crystalline, right?
Yep. So Crystal got a call from a guy who happened to collect My Little Ponies. And I don't know how they got on the subject, but because we focus on connection here, they ended up getting pictures of his collection of My Little Ponies. I mean, this is like big, bad, tough builder guy that, they were chatting and somehow got on this
There's
topic.
nothing like.
So there is picture evidence
This
that
isn't like
this has
Brett
happened.
Favre Crocs. There wasn't like any creepiness after
There
that.
was no creepiness at all. He shared his
Wow.
pictures because she asked, and Carrie Wick can still probably hook you up with those images if you're ever curious. As
No, I
to
feel it's
what
like a
it
Brett
looks
Favre
like.
Crocs. Like there was like a
Yeah.
rabbit hole. I do not.
Yeah.
know what it is. Okay.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Let's move on to your actual jobs, right? So
Yeah.
you schedule flooring, right?
Mhm.
So we do flooring in how many locations?
2.
2 locations. And then we do warranty work for windows.
Mm-hmm.
And then how many jobs do we have going on in a certain week?
Oh, it really depends. We do tend to see like ebbs and flows, especially beginning of the month is
But-
very popular, but I'd
but
say,
ballpark.
like 30? 30 starts
30
per week?
flooring jobs a week.
Yeah,
So if you're thinking about getting us for flooring or you think we don't do a lot of flooring, that's a lot of flooring.
it is.
And we do tile, carpet,
And
and
hard
hard
surface,
surfaces,
yep.
right? And all those installers are in-house, or how does that all work?
Nope, we use mainly subcontractors. We do have an in-house crew that makes up maybe 5% of our actual volume that we get done. We tend to reserve those guys for special cases. Something went wrong with an install. We want to make sure that we have that extra touch with the homeowner.
White
Make
glove
sure that
services.
they,
Yes.
exactly. Then we use our in-house. And then for our warranty work for windows, we do have only our 2 in-house
And their
guys.
names
And they
are?
are George Johnson and Jim Dittmer, some of my
Hi,
favorite
guys.
people.
Right?
Yep.
And they take care of the warranty side. And I gotta
Yep.
keep saying warranty really loud.
Warranty, yes.
Because people call it service. And we actually don't do service work, unfortunately or fortunately. Because service work is really handyman work, which is really carpentry work, which is really remodeling services. And we don't want to compete with remodeling companies.
Correct.
We also don't want to open that can of worms. Because a lot of times service work leads to, long as you're here, can you look at this? Long as you can look at that. We're not real good at that. We aren't really good at charging for those services. So we simply do the warranty work behind the products that we sell. Is that a good way to say it?
It is.
Right. So subcontractors,
Mm-hmm.
you just hire whoever you can find. What's the weeding know? How do you know that we have? I'm going to spend $30,000 on redoing my tiled shower at Drexel. Happens all the time, right?
Yep.
Way more than you think, which is great. How do I know that tile installer is any good?
So we do have a process. We have a man who is dedicated to figuring out who is going to be qualified as a
Does that man have a name?
subcontractor. Mr. Bronco Bell.
We are like doing shout outs
Yeah.
nonstop.
So
Can
Bronco.
you get the number up on how many shout outs?
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, right.
You can tell these are popular girls, like they get their job, right? Gotta thank this person, gotta thank that. Okay.
Yep. So Bronco goes through a vetting process, goes out and actually visits them on different job sites that they've done that are
So
not
quality
with Drexel.
inspection.
Yeah,
service-
yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, and then actually goes through the paperwork, works with our awesome finance team. Another shout out
Yeah.
for Brett Schellinger is usually the man who makes
Are
it
you
happen
literally
on the
gonna name
insurance
all
side.
650 people at some
Nope,
point?
nope. I mean, like maybe like 25, 25 total. But we gotta have love
Yeah.
for
And
everybody
go
who
through the
helps us
process.
make our job
Yes.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
So
go to the Academy Awards and like the music's gonna start.
yeah,
playing.
right. So then we vet them on the insurance side, make sure that they have all the paperwork that they need to make sure that we can ensure our customers are working with somebody who's covered. And then we go through a process of Bronco showing them how to use our awesome app so that we can have constant communication with them and get them set up with jobs and have Bronco go out with them on the first few to make sure it goes
So
well.
we have an in-house app.
Yes, we have an
And
in-house
that is
app,
called what?
Blue Sibs.
What does that do? How does it function?
It is essentially telling them what their calendar is in real time. So any changes that are made, we can add notes, let them know, hey, here's a lockbox code that changed in real time. Give them all their plans so that they can access it right on their phone. And one of our newest features that's really cool is that they can actually complete the job, upload pictures to show us what it looks like when it's done, and invoice it in 30 seconds.
So really big things right there, right? If you're a customer or working with us or a contractor listening in, right, that's really cool. Subcontractors can do more work.
Mhm.
We can get the best subcontractors because we're easy to work with.
Mhm.
They're more efficient as far as, and more effective as far as slow down phone calls, better guarantee the jobs, and better control for schedulers, which is why is that huge? Because we know where they are and what they're doing, and that way we aren't over-promising or under-promising, we're right-promising. We're OTIF-ing right on time
Yep.
and full.
Yep.
Awesome. Really cool story for you two that I have to share with everybody. When you started, how many schedulers were there?
In our department, there were 5.
And how many are there right now?
You're looking at it.
This is it.
And the volume has actually grown since you started.
Yes.
Correct.
Did you hear that, Marcus?
Mhm.
5 people in the department. Now there's doing it with 2, and they're both still smiling and happy.
Yeah.
So you're working 100 hours a week?
Nope.
Nope.
How many hours are you working a week?
We stay right around 40.
We have 5 people doing it too. Why what you did, and this is only in the last 6 months?
Yeah.
It's an incredible turnaround. I mean, it's such a huge story that has to be shared. 5 to 2 in the same department, and the actual work orders have grown. The work you do has actually grown. Why does that happen? What improvements did you make? What efficiency models did you pick up?
So I can let you give your
Ton of
own
changes,
answer, but
yes.
yeah, process is the
Yes.
easiest answer. We have looked at how we did things and said what's not working here, and actually wrote down, documented what our process is going to be. It changes all the time.
Mhm.
We figured out last week that there was a huge piece missing, so we just went in and changed what the process was. But it made it so that
Did you get that from the nursing side? I know nurses have.
I know
problems with it.
that. I know that's a big part of it too. Yeah, definitely.
I
But
mean, is that you stole that from the nursing a little
no,
bit?
I didn't. Maybe a little, but I
It's
blame
okay,
Marcus
steal
too. I
ideas,
mean,
yeah.
it's Marcus's problem. He got us hooked up with Monday now, Monday.com.
mhm.
Big shout out to Marcus for that.
Yeah.
So
We
no,
love
that
it.
tracks our OTIF, and we can see what jobs are problem jobs, which ones we're having trouble with. Certain materials at jobs, job sites not being ready. Is it a certain builder we need to talk with? Get that process worked through a little better.
And I would just challenge anybody that's saying, my department's different, my job's different, my career is different, what we do is different. It's so weird and unique, you can't jot it down. I was told that in flooring for 10 years. It's a lie. There's a quantifiable, I'm much more of an analytical person than people think I am. There's a quantifiable number of things that can go wrong at a job. It's not an infinite number. Since it's
Right.
not infinite, we then should be able to write them down and have a process of when they go wrong, then what? Why create that in real time?
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, well, now what? Like, has it happened before? Yeah, it happens like once a month. Well, then what are we gonna do? Not only this time, but next time.
Mm-hmm.
How do we make sure it never happens again and close the loop? But if that loop's always gonna be open, then let's just have a process that we could train, understand, go to our contractors and explain, our tile people, and our schedulers, and say, this is our process.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can either coach to the process, change the process, which always has to be changed, or it's a people problem. But now it's definable and not, it's just really hard in flooring because it's hard. There's so many things, and you have to be here 20 years to even know the things. So I don't know. Sound familiar when you started?
Oh yeah, a little painfully familiar. And our other big change was that we decided to be universal. So no matter which one of us you get, we share the information in the same fashion so that we can pull up that ticket, look, and tell them what the answer is right there.
So let me guess. Work sharing is better than working in silos.
Yeah.
Correct.
When I started, we had
Weird.
one per surface.
Weird.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we had one per surface, and that was fine, and it worked in the way that we were.
Ish.
But you ended up passing people off. You couldn't help. You didn't know what's going on. People got a little feisty if
couldn't work share.
touched their stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas Universal is just been great for us. That
So
you can
actually,
get either of us.
teaming up and working together is much better than being a silo.
Definitely.
Crazy, weird. Let's use that everywhere. That's a chapter in the book. Cool. Okay, so flooring scheduling, horror stories or hero stories? Do you have a go-to flooring window scheduling stories? This is a complicated job, even with the process.
Do you have any yet?
I recently did a renovation of my own home, so
Yeah, how'd that go?
honestly, Todd's finishing up, and Devon, shouts out to them as well.
Oh man.
And
Name droppers.
I
Name
think we
droppers.
just cracked one.
But yeah, they did amazing work. They were really quick, very efficient, and they laughed. I was there one day working from home one of the days, just in case they had questions when they first started out, and there was laughter, but yet they were getting the job done, and that's amazing.
That's the Drexel way to do things,
Absolutely.
right? I mean, supply some happiness at the site, right? So
Absolutely.
I've always said installers make or break us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we install off-site projects and we install flooring. It's the only thing we install. And they make or break every job. I mean, they could have the best price, the best product, the best in-store experience, the best finances, the best schedulers, right? And then literally if those installers are crabby or do poor quality work, that's it. That's where we make the bacon right there. That's all of it.
Yeah.
So shout out to any of the installers that do work with us and will ever work with us, and why that's so important to us and such a key part of the network. And I've never worked at flooring stores, but I know a lot of flooring store people. That was that way when we bought Drexel in 2008. Salesmen hated the installers and the installer hated the salesman. And it was crazy to me. I'm like, this is nuts. Like, you need each other like peanut butter and jelly, right? Like, you literally can't survive without each other. They would literally, in the showroom, this is in Drexel Interiors in Brookfield when we bought it, they would scream at each other. Like, in front of customers, right? Like, yell.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, literally, if you don't have a sale, you can't install anything. If you sell something and you piss off all of our installers, we can't install anything. But they said, that's just the way it is, that's the way it'll always be. And I'm like, that is something so wrong with that. They're like, you know, salesmen are like, you watch them installers, they're gonna try to get away with everything. I'm gonna try to do nothing and get all the money. And installers are like, you know, I'm salesmen, they're just trying to make me do everything. Not pay me for any of it. I'm like, there's like a middle ground here. And again, processes, clarity, consistency. This is what we pay, this is why we pay it, right? The why statement, action and benefits. And then let's just work together. Why would you fight? I mean, I think so many companies do it. I think so many families do it. So many teams do it. Why would you fight internally when the whole world's against you?
Right.
Like, our competition's trying to take us out, right? We're trying to take our competition out. So let's fight against them. Every time we talk, let's fight against them.
Yeah.
Every time you bring an internal conflict to me, wouldn't that be cool if we just talk that much about how we're going against our competition out there?
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
We actually proof of that today. We had an installer who I called and I said, I'm so sorry, I have a service for you. And sorry to call it that, but it was legitimate that we had to send him back for one T-molding.
Well, no, yeah,
That's
there's a
it.
service.
It happens.
There's a service of the jobs that we do, right?
Yeah.
So if we carry that goes on for like a year, right?
Yeah.
Our labor is a year, so there's service within that.
So-
So yeah, go ahead.
so I called him.
Detailed explain that story.
Yep. So when the original job was done, one T-molding was missed. It happens. It was just a mistake on the
What's a
salesperson
T-molding?
part. The transition it was actually in between their bathroom and their hallway that they were short
So that
one
little
piece.
metal thing you see, that
Yep.
little wooden thing, that's called a T-molding. One piece goes down to separate the two people because they might grow and shrink with the weather. And then there's like a cap so you don't have this seam of dust and whatnot, right?
Yep. So I called to tell him about it. Said, could you look at your schedule? Let me know what day you could get out there so I can confirm with the homeowner. This one is billable. Like, great news for you. Like,
Right.
we messed up, so you get to bill for it. And his response was my favorite thing I've ever heard. He said, oh, she forgot to order it, didn't she? And I said, yeah, it was a mistake on our side. And he said, okay, well, I don't want the minimum charge. Just charge me just pay me 1/3 of that. Because really, it won't take me more than 15 minutes. And I love working with her.
Wow.
How different is that from when we started?
Yeah, right. Because they're like, I'm never going back to that job. Bite me.
Right.
It's like, no, I like working with you guys. Let's work together for the rest of our careers. We're all in this for the exact same reasons. And then you end up with the best installers. I say if you have the best installers, you win the war. That's how it is. Like, and we'd like to think we have the best installers with some of the best schedulers in the area, obviously, board here today. And truthfully, I mean, you guys are awesome. You've proven that quickly. And I think you will see our flooring store department grow because we have the best installers. That's just how this industry works. A piece of tile is a piece of tile.
Yep.
And it's actually pretty inexpensive. $50,000 tile remodel is not inexpensive. So it comes down to your communication, it comes down to your person you're working with at the store, and then it absolutely comes down to your installers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the only way to know you're going to get a good installer if you trust your schedulers. And the backbone of Bronco and the team. Because you can't just say, I want Alex. It's like, that's one dude.
Yep.
So you can't Alex me.
Right.
Love you, Alex, dude. You have to love all of our installers because I cannot guarantee which one's coming out.
Yep.
What else we gotta talk about?
Oh, man. I just figured you'd ask all the questions.
This
Yeah,
is all the
we
questions.
did.
We're rolling.
We did.
I feel really good with this podcast, and it's rolling really good. I'm going right to the billboard.
All right.
All right.
I just feel I got some synergy here. I love it. I hope you're listening in. I hope you're having the same enjoyment I'm having. You guys need like a beer break for a second?
Oh, sure.
We're rolling
Love
hot.
it.
This
We
one's
are
rolling hot.
I've been sipping all along, but.
Oh, I know.
That's good. Okay, so you have a big giant billboard. I ask every podcast. Big giant billboard. What do you want on it and why?
All right. So I thought a little bit about this one. Mine is going to say, love more, bitch less. That's the whole message, because for me, I would love everybody to be reminded that complaining doesn't fix anything. And learning to love people every day will make you happier. So you can actually be happy and spread happiness.
I love that about you because I think I know you well enough. Like, you have this funny edge, you have this little bit of hard edge, right? Like bitch less, but overall you have this really good loving component. So that I think that billboard's perfectly you. Like,
Yeah.
love more, bitch less. I'm like, yep. Yep. So well done.
Thanks.
Mine's a little different. It's not quite as funny, I'm sure, but I actually learned it from Dale Carnegie. And just be comfortable being uncomfortable, because that means change is going to happen, and change is okay. Roll with it.
So you took Dale Carnegie.
Mm-hmm.
Could you explain for people? I mean, we've had well over 100 people within our company out of 650 taken Dale Carnegie. I took it myself. What is Dale Carnegie?
It's an amazing course that actually teaches you how to open up better, how to communicate better with people, how to openly talk with people and let them know what you're thinking without judging, without argument.
And without overthinking
So
it,
without
right?
overthinking,
Let
yeah,
the conversation
absolutely.
flow.
Yeah.
How many weeks is it?
It is 8 weeks, I
8
believe?
weeks?
Yes.
And how many hours?
3 hours.
All on your own time,
Yes,
including homework.
correct.
And it's stressful being there, right?
It was the first couple times.
Because
it
you're
was,
not comfortable,
but
because they
yeah,
get you,
yeah.
like, how quickly do they get you uncomfortable?
Oh, right away.
It's
right
like the
out, right
first
out of the gate.
2 minutes.
Right out of the
I was
gate.
like,
Oh yeah.
we're not doing
Yes.
this, we're doing this. And you're like looking around people and like, you're doing it,
Yep.
I'm doing it, I guess we're really doing this. And then
Yeah.
it gets worse.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel so, been in so many classes and graduations, it's so uplifting, right?
Mhm.
Like, it's
Yeah.
exhausting but uplifting.
It is.
I see a different personality from you. Has it a bit changed your life?
I believe it has. Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome.
I'd recommend it to anybody that can go.
I do too.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. It's
Mhm.
really cool.
Mhm.
Obviously, one of your biggest takeaways is being uncomfortable. Did you have a different takeaway as well?
Not being afraid of confrontation. I used to avoid it a lot.
Yeah, but that didn't
Yeah.
resolve anything, right?
No.
Right, and I don't think confrontation's a bad thing
No.
because you're going to have an outcome. And again, if you love, I call it love tough,
Yes.
not tough love.
Mhm.
So you can be really, really hard on people if you love them first.
Mhm.
If you know their name, again, if you have that connection with them, if you smile when you're on the phone, I know you both do that, right? You have that positive attitude, you can be pretty damn tough on people without any repercussions. You can have a good confrontation, a conflict.
Mhm.
But if you're like, I don't know your name, I've never met you, I should know your name, but I don't. I don't care about you, I don't know anything about your company, I don't know your wife's name, your dog's name, I don't care,
Mhm.
really. But I'm gonna be a jag to you, that comes off as a jag. That's just
Right.
one of those, right? Middle finger right to your head.
Definitely.
You're like, wow, I hate confrontation, everyone's always so mad at me. It's like, because you don't love anybody first.
Mhm.
If you love people, it's okay.
Mhm.
Be
Yeah.
tough on them,
Well, it's funny too, to Haley's point about the T-mold and the installer and going back, like, when you stack all that good positivity and wins and you're honest and you own
Yeah.
mistakes, the confrontation you think could be a confrontation or a tough conversation is like, oh, it's actually not bad.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
One of the stories that I tell a lot is the gold coin relationship story. Have you guys heard this from me?
Mhm.
No.
Right, so every relationship is based on a bucket of gold coins. So every time you do something nice for somebody and thoughtful and a little extra, there's a gold coin that goes in that bucket. And every time you make, like for a builder, put it in a builder relationship, not even a personal relationship, every time you make a mistake, the gold coins come out. Right, so why do some builders actually lose, besides them being jakes, why do some builders actually lose their mind when you make a mistake? Because you're out of gold coins. You didn't have the connection piece, you didn't do tailgate tours, you didn't get to know them, you didn't have 6 jobs in a row that go really well. But and then why are some installers like, hey, you know what? Don't worry about it. I'll go back to T-molding for a third of the price, because the gold coins are overflowing.
Mhm.
Now, if you have 5 jobs in a row, you're empty. And if your gold coins are bare, all you have is price at best, or the customer's gone. So there's a lot to learn there, right? Value add those coins constantly, because we are going to make a mistake.
Mhm.
I guarantee you, every single builder that buys from us, eventually we're going to screw up a flooring job. I guarantee that. It's how do we overcome that? And our gold coins better be overflowing. Also, sometimes why homeowners blow up more than the builder. Builder's gold coins are overflowing. Homeowner doesn't know us. Their coins haven't been built up high enough yet, right? So that's really interesting. Also, I said why white glove service is important, and also why first-time installs for new builders are really important. Why is that? And I'm like, it's the gold coin theory, right? I use dating a lot on these podcasts to talk about it. Literally, I've been married for 22 years to my wife, Pam. Shout out to Pam. Does not listen or watch. Shout out to Pam, right? So if it's our first, I'm going to, both scenarios, I'm going to do the same scenario 2 different ways, right? I go to Pearl of,
Canton.
I always do that wrong. I just call it Pearl of Canton. I go there, we're doing sake.
Yep.
We're doing loads of sake. I literally puke on the sidewalk and pass out in the back seat. Right? If I do that on the first date, we're done. Right? Like done.
Right.
You're 22, she's probably laughing.
Yeah.
Right? Laughing. What's the difference? The gold coins.
Yeah.
The gold coins. And again, even 22 years of marriage, if I did that and that was the 3rd time this month that I did that, she ain't laughing.
Right.
Now, if I haven't done that in 10 years, and I've treated her really good the last month, and I've been there for her and supportive and had empathy for once in my life, right? I've actually listened. Yeah, she's probably laughing like, oh man, you deserved it. It's been a long run for you, But I did it the 3 times. Well, yeah, I had gold coins, but now they're all gone.
Yep.
So it's all predicated on that. So that's really good. Thanks for sharing that. Thank you. Guys, that's it. Thanks for having us on. I love this just all flowed so wonderful. You guys are the best of the best.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for coming on. We're all good. Peace out, everybody. Love you.